Go and do it, Alan.
Hello! Welcome along.
Thank you so much for joining us this week, everyone. Alan has once again given us his best Andy Peters impression.
Well, funnily enough, I was thinking about this before we came on live right now. My morning Heath, mine is basically a homage to the mid-90s. If anyone wants to know me, just go and research the mid-90s. That's me. So I grew up, my teens, Chris Evans, Chris Moyles, Big Breakfast and everything else. So anything I do now is basically built around the mid-90s. That's I'm happy to admit it. That's my music collection. And she lives with me. But who would have thought they were however many years ago they are now, a long time ago.
Someone said the other day that 2050 is the same distance away as the 1990s.
Yeah, let's not talk about that. I have enough of an issue with getting old as it is. So we got comments already. Do you want comments or do you want to recap?
I'm going to recap.
Right, let's do it properly.
Last week, we discussed all about brand matters, and a massive thank you to both Amy and Adam last week for their amazing insight into why brand has to be so personal to you and how it really has to be the core of everything you do when it comes to delivering your business outwardly to your audience. So thank you to them for watching, and thank you to everyone who got in contact after that as well with all your comments. They were really lovely. This week, I am so excited. Really,
this has been one of those, not that any have been better or worse, but this is one of those I've been genuinely looking forward to.
We have been actually discussing this as a potential subject to talk about for the best part of lockdown one, actually. We are talking about relationships today and the unique proposition of having a husband and wife team. Oh, look.
Hello.
Hi. Working in business together, and we discussed with a few husband and wife teams over lockdown how people were getting on. Lockdown was a really particular time for a lot of people working under the same roof, building something, trying to adapt something potentially if you were looking to pivot your business at all, dealing with maybe family issues, having children under the same roof, all of that. It was quite an interesting discussion topic. So we thought, actually, do you know what? We would love to bring that to the Yellow Magic Hour this time around.
Can I be honest? Also, our first guests, who we will tell you about in a moment, were the ones who first said it to us. They contacted us and said, let's have a chat during lockdown. And they brought this topic up, which is the obvious topic of husband and wives and everything. Today's not just about husband and wives. It's about relationships with the spin of we're all husbands and wives, or a couple,
Yeah.
So, yes.
All right, then.
All right.
Would like to have some comments?
Well, it's gone crazy. It's like, I absolutely feel like we're on going live here. We've got Heath. Heath, I happen to know, is a husband and wife. They're actually a family team with him and his wife, Samantha. We've got guest on the show, Matt. Good morning, who's also then put Ed the Duck. Love it. Good 90s reference. Our top fan, Chris Mooney, learning. It's a kind of a mutual loving. We're his top fans, and I like to think he's our top fans. More 90s references. Zig and Zag. Yeah, I know. They got to number one. I believe that was like Simon Cowell's first number one or something like that. Zig and Zag. No, I know everything about the 90s. Nisha, haha, brilliant. Not as good as your picture with the pumpkins, though, Nisha, let's be honest. We've got Ben saying good morning. No, that's William Bedford. Good morning, William. We've got Ben saying good morning. He was on the show a couple of weeks ago. Fleur's back again. Morning again, Fleur. Thank you for joining us. Power couple goals. Hey, KV. Oh, Crystal. Let's just say Crystal. Hey, Crystal. Yeah, power couples, but not just husband and wives. Ben, worked with my wife once. Wasn't good for us. We're still married, but don't work together anymore. Safe enough. Well, I think we may be talking about that today, because one of the first things people always say is we'd kill each other. And I used to think the same before we worked together, but I know what keeps us going. We'll bring it up.
Master plan.
Ruth says, Gordon the Gopher, love that. Another going live reference. Oh, Funhouse, it's all right. We're all on 90s. Okay, we're going to try and drip in the 90s today, but we need to keep going. So please keep some 90s relevant references coming in, and please do stay with us, because we have got some fantastic. This is relevant. Heath, Susanna, and our digital overlord son, Kyle. I don't have a Samantha. I'm sorry, Heath. I knew it was an S. I chatted to her on LinkedIn this morning and just forgot it in the heat of the moment. Apologies to you and the family. Right. Okay. Let's get going. Should we get them in? Who have we got today, Emily?
Today we have the lovely Kelly and James West from the ONLE Network. I'm not going to tell you about what they do. They're going to explain exactly what it is they do right now. But they are so lovely. Just like us, they are a husband and wife team working in Hampshire, and we're so pleased to bring them on. So Alan, bring them in.
Yes, here we go. Everyone, please do say hello to Kelly and James West.
Hi.
Hi, guys.
And can I just point out that Kelly is wearing yellow and James is not?
As I said in the yellow room, that's why why she's our favourite, but I felt it was too good to not repeat that as a joke.
Guys, thank you so very much for joining us live today. We know you're an incredibly busy couple as well. But tell us exactly what you guys do as a couple together in work.
On then, James, over to you.
So we run ONLE Networking. I sound like a robot. We run ONLE Networking. We met at networking. So networking for us is instrumental to everything we do. So relationships, networking, what is it? It's relationships ultimately, isn't it? There's a lot of misconceptions. But yeah, so we met at networking. We've only been together for 6 years. So for us, networking has overlapped everything that we've done, basically. So when I feel like I'm probably rushing ahead. What do you want to know?
No, the floor is yours. I have to say, James, as you paused, we need to backtrack because Emily and I are particularly rubbish. But luckily, the watchers have reminded us we need to ask you about your morning routine. I
think we're going to have to do a montage at the end of these 6 episodes of Emily forgetting to ask the integral question.
Yeah, so we're going to ask the integral. Oh my goodness, integral question, and then we come back and we just want to hear everything for the moment, don't we?
Guys, in the morning when you wake up, what do you do? What's your morning routine? On average.
Well, it's set like clockwork because our youngest is 13, but she's special needs child. So she is set like an alarm clock, 5:45 every morning without fail. So that's kind of when the day starts. We've pretty much done our day's work before 9 o'clock because of that, which is good. I mean, it used to be 4:50, didn't it? So we've edged it back a little bit. So our routine is get up, sort Kennedy out. We did talk about this. We've just bought the book, The Miracle Morning, because we're thinking we might need a bit of a shake-up. I don't think it's a bad thing every now and again just to shake your routine up a little bit. But
that's a good example of everything wrapping around itself. Yes. When we met, I had an office in Southampton that I'd spent a lot of money on, and I'm not bitter about it at all. I realised very quickly, because Kelly was doing a different job, I was running the media business as it was then. And it took me, we live in Bishopstoke, so just outside Eastleigh. My office was in Southampton. And one day it took me door to door, an hour and a half to get from where I'm sat now to sat at the desk to take out the same laptop that I'd carried with me. And that's when we started to investigate, well, could we work together? And I had a guy building websites for me. You were doing interior design, weren't you? And we started looking at Squarespace. Well, Kelly needed a website. Well, I can build this in Squarespace. Squarespace is good, isn't it? What if you built Squarespace websites? That was 5 years ago. And then we've built about 150 websites since then. So going into the point, we've gone past the morning.
Where it goes, nobody knows. That's the joy
Mornings
of it.
are done. Just get up and get on with it. That's pretty much your thing, isn't it? Why are you waiting for a point to start work necessarily? Just get on with it.
But you brought up the fact, obviously you have got children at home. And we've got 3 little ones under the same roof as well. And for us, it's that we, like you, have to get claw time when we can. And a lot of time, our mornings are very, very rushed. We have to get the school run done and all that kind of stuff. But also, we're up. Well, you were up at 5 this morning, weren't you? Trying to get things done before the kids were awake. But the benefit for us is that having the 2 of us under the same roof allows that we can tag team quite a lot. And if one of us is feeling that we have a lot of work to do, the other one will sort of pick up the slack a little bit and vice versa. It's kind of, we are a team within a team in terms of running our life and running our business together. So yeah, we're like you, mornings have to be quite structured for us, but at the same time, drinking a lot of coffee going on like that. So when you obviously you met 6 years ago and you've moved rapidly into starting a business together. And James, you touched upon the fact that, it was the hour long in the morning, getting out, working for other people, doing that kind of stuff. And it was taking a lot of you. Was it a natural transition for you to go to actually, you know what, Kelly, let's work together? Was it something like you had to think about for a long time? Or was it something actually, do you know what? We're great together in terms of a couple. I think we both have skill set and yes, shall we work together? Or did you have to really kind of think about it before you jumped in?
Not at all. I don't think. I can remember I was doing a part-time job and sounds really soppy, doesn't it? But we'd only just met and we just wanted to spend all of our time together. So we were texting each other. James would come and pick me up and it was like, can we not sort this out? Just, work together, spend more time together. And we are very unusual. We are together 24/7. Yeah. Absolutely. There's no time we're apart and there hasn't been really for 6 years. So we are quite unusual as a couple, but we complement each other really well. We fit each other's gaps. So, in terms of our personalities, in terms of working, I am not a finisher. at all. James is the finisher, so I could come up with ideas all day long. Do I want to implement them? No, not really. That bit. So I think for us, it was kind of, we spotted that very quickly because of the business you had at that time.
Yeah, I mean, I had a guy building websites for me, and I didn't realise at the time that he was kind of making it up as he went along. Lovely guy, but you know, I had a definitive need for something that needed doing in the business. So my legacy, I was a journalist, so I had a lot of clients that were in the IT sphere because that's where I came from. So I needed to do a lot of stuff, a lot of content, and the website supported that. So I needed someone to build the website. Kelly could do that. It's a combination of Squarespace. You're a fast learner, and we kind of think the same in terms of sort of the way we approach customers and what your goals are. I mean, I think this is the thing. We see a lot of people at the moment, you can use the power couple thing as a marketing thing, can't you? Because it's cute and it's twee and it gives you an edge. If you don't complement each other in terms of skills and personalities, it's not going to work. And it will look massively disingenuous. Like Kelly said, Kelly's an energy person. She's ideas, let's get things moving, incredibly hard worker. I'm a lot more cynical. I get a tendency to get down on things a lot quicker. So Kelly picks me up. But sometimes Kelly needs pulling back because otherwise we'd never stop and consolidate and finish and have a professional product. So my point is there, I don't think anyone can work together as husband and wife if you haven't got those complementary skills.
Yeah, I think that's really important. And you touched on a key part for me. I wanted to bring in an age-old question, which is, you know, is not new. It was very obvious, but you touched on our answer to that. So my age-old question is, anyone else you talk about working with the other half and they go, but we'd kill each other. And you've mentioned our reason why we don't kill each other. What is your reason? Is it what you just said? And I'm only being vague because, you know, I don't want to.
Yeah, I think it is the fact that we complement each other, but the fact we have the same goals.
Yeah,
we can get to that place a lot quicker, can't we? And we do regularly sit down and say, we're on the same page. Is this still what we want? Because things change, you know. It's not a given that we're always going to think the same way.
We used to walk around Winchester, didn't we, when we got together? And we run Winchester Bloggers as well. That's kind of a hobby thing that Kelly decided, eating pizza one night, she was going to build this thing called Winchester Bloggers. That became a phenomenon in its own right. But we used to wander around Winchester and we used to walk in the shops and people used to look at us, didn't they, and start a conversation. And we were doing networking. We thought, we've got something in us and our personalities that people want to be involved in. And let's try running a networking group because we love it, but it's impenetrable. It's quite unwelcoming networking to people that haven't done it, or they've done networking, they've had a bad experience. And we just thought, with our personalities, what would happen if we brought all these people together? And people voted with their feet and said, yeah, that's the kind of networking we want to do. Relationship first networking, not rules, not protocols, not obligation to bring referral. We do refer work to each other all the time, but it starts with a relationship. And that's, I think we kind of wear our heart on our sleeve, don't we? People love it in the Only meetings if we have a little bit of banter, a little bit of bickering, a little bit of behind the scenes, you know, there is a kid in the back. People like that because it shows that you're human beings. So I think it's shared goals. And I think the other thing that people say, well, when do you switch off? Do you draw a line between? We're bad at that.
Yeah.
We talk about it all the time. And I think the reason that that's okay with us is that only is us. It's not what we do. It is what we are. It's relationships. It's people. Most of the people within that network, that's where our friends come from. So why is it a job? I know people say, you know, do what you do, do what you love, and you're never working. But for us, some of it is difficult and a challenge, even with our dynamic. But we love it, don't we?
We do love it. Yeah, we do love it.
I think that's really clear when you say that common goal, and that's exactly what we did when we first started as well. It's hard at the end of the day, especially the last 12 months of things have changed and adapted. It has changed massively. But having that common goal, and like you, we set very early on, we realised that our skill sets were very different, just like you. And actually, we had to accept that straight away. And that's what made it so much simpler to go into that, was the fact that, you know, there are certain things I just can't do, don't want to do, and it's just not my skill set, and Alan will pick me up there and go, actually, so we balance. And it's having that goal ahead. I mean, we are very clear on what our end goal for this is, and that is more than it's just to have a happy family life where we're secure and we can enjoy that together, and we built something together. So as long as we're always heading for that common goal, then everything else is just getting us, is that vehicle to get to that
part
end.
of the adventure, darling.
It is an adventure, and we love doing it. Absolutely. Right, guys, we have to take you out for a second. Is there any comments before we take you out?
Couple of quick comments. We've got some good mornings. We've got a morning from Heath. We've got a morning from Ben. We've got teamwork makes the dream work. Yes. Love that. And one, oh wait there, let's not do that one. Let's do this one. I do remember Blur versus Oasis. Yes, I remember the race to number one. It was so exciting. The 90s were the last time when the world was truly alive. Obviously, I've made that up. That's too much of a sweeping statement. But
let's read Heath's comments.
Oh, okay. You sure?
Yes.
Right. Ricky, we're cutting into your time. And this is big. It's cutting us. Just do that, Emily. Heath, myself and Susanna have been together for 26 years now. We worked in a previous family business. She was FD and I was in sales. Fast forward about 19, we now work together in our two businesses, Aspirin Business and Motivated Performance. We are home office based and brought our two boys up while building the business. What has worked for us is understanding what our strengths and weaknesses are. This allows us to support each other. Susanna's strengths are the strategy development, and the rest is cut off. I don't know whether that's a StreamYard or a Facebook thing, but we will be on Facebook to look at this afterwards. Heath, thank you for your input. And yeah, just validating or confirming exactly what the rest of us talking about, understanding what our strengths are, but what you're trying to achieve. And that is an amazing family thing, isn't it?
All right, guys, hold fire. We're going to bring you back in a second. We're going to bring Ricky into the room now. So enjoy the yellow room out there.
See you in a bit. Thanks, guys.
Ricky Locke, there's no face, there are just hands.
Last time we did this, Ricky, and you had your face missing, everyone thought you were going to jump out from behind us. So
yeah, I can't now. I'm getting ready for the lockdown, aren't I? So I've got my Hawaiian shirt on, ready for the next 4 weeks of comfort, I think. Yeah, but
I love that.
I won't be coming behind.
So, Ricky, how are you saying in terms of your business relationships? I mean, you don't work directly with Danielle, but you live under the same roof as her. How do you find balancing, your work life with your partner?
Yeah, so I mentioned this quite recently in an episode where I talked about the kite and the string. And for me and Danielle is basically the whole kite and the string. I'm this big kite flying in the air, this big blue sky thinker, crazy ideas, and then she's the string that just pulls me back down to earth and tells me I'm rubbish. No, she doesn't do that, but she compliments me. Like I think we just said it there. Relationships first and then networking after. The thing with me and Danielle is that we have those complementary skills where we help each other. So I'll say about this great idea, or let me show you this. What do you think of this? She'll tell me if it's not good, which is great. Now, a lot of people aren't prepared for that, but sometimes you might build relationships with people of the same skills as you, but you'll get the feedback that you want to hear, such as, yeah, Ricky, you're brilliant. That's great. Well done, Ricky. That doesn't do anything down the long run. You need those people like Danielle, bit of the string to pull her back down, just to kind of keep me grounded so that I'm not, let's be honest, right? In this job that I do, it could be quite egotistical. You're constantly told how wonderful you are, Ricky. Oh, that was amazing. And she tells me when I'm rubbish, which is great because that just helps me work together.
Yeah, no, I like that. And just on that kind of ego part, look, how easy is it to pick up a camera and go live technically to the entire world? Let's just put it in perspective, how easy it is to do that, like we're doing right now. So, no, thank you. I like the kite analogy, actually. I've never heard that one before.
I just like looking at Ricky's shirt right now. It's got really good
style. It is a cool shirt. I'm missing his face, but I'm going to put that down to, offset that again.
There it is.
I'll be back on the other camera soon for you.
Right. Okay. Come on then.
Anyway, getting to nitty gritty, what are you doing for us today, Ricky?
All right then. Well, because this is about relationships and couples, I thought we could try something for the both of you, but we're going to make a little bond between the two of you because I know that you have a strong bond and I think the whole audience can see that, but we're going to test it. So it's really, really simple. Let's do this first with Emily. Emily, would you call stop whenever you like for me?
Stop.
Perfect. So place that on there. Can you see that on there?
Oh, God, no.
Perfect.
I could see that.
I haven't got any glasses on.
All right. Now, like we've done every single week, we're going to mark this just so that we know that it's yours. And Emily, would you say that you are probably quite a strong-minded person?
No.
No? Okay. Do you have a strong relationship with Alan?
Yes.
You do, right? Perfect. Well, we're going to test that out in a second, but Emily, watch. You may remember a few weeks ago that I did this same thing. We're going to do something slightly different here. Watch. You'll see it jump to the top, but watch. We'll do this again nice and slow. We'll place it into the middle like this. Now, if you remember, I asked last time for a bit of sassiness. So, Emily, a little bit of sassiness from you. Snap those fingers. Oh, You go, girl. That is brilliant.
That's amazing.
And it's back in the cup again, right?
I love that.
This time we're going to do something slightly different because you know what's going to happen now, right? We can see it on the top, but wait, this time I'll do it as fair as possible, but rather than breaking the cycle by pushing it back in, I'm going to split the pack. Okay, there it is. I'll push it in and I'll keep this as fair as possible just there. Won't touch anything. But Alan, you know I love you, Alan. I don't want you to feel left out here. So would you shout stop for me as well?
Stop.
Perfect. And Alan, we're going to mark this one as well for you. Now, just so you can see that, everybody.
Yeah.
Alan, if you used to name a card right now, what card would you name?
Sorry.
Name a card.
6 of clubs.
6 of clubs. Okay, that's not too bad. Not quite, but we'll work on that trick together. We'll get that in the next one probably. But Alan, this is going to be your card, the Ace of Hearts, all right? Now watch. This time I'll do this as fair as possible into the middle. And hopefully you can see that on the camera, right? Watch. Yeah. All right. Now, Alan, Emily did it really well with the old sassiness. I'd like you to be a little bit more sassier this time. So really this for me. Go.
I did get an A in GCSE drama in 1994, just like to point out there.
And this is what it was all for, Alan, for this moment. Go for it.
I don't know if I can.
Oh, jeez, I felt that.
Oh, well.
Very good. Well, look, I did tell you this was about relationships, and I wanted to test this out between the two because what you've done there, Alan, is the card that was Emily's inside that pack has now switched into this pack. Let me show you. If I go through, you'll see. Now look.
Oh.
Now here's the weirdest thing, right? If that's there, then that means one thing. The other card that we signed with Alan is in your right trouser pocket, Alan. Have a quick look.
There is a slight flaw. I don't have any trousers on.
Yeah, it's okay, Alan. We won't do that anyway. I'm not that good a magician. I'm
Thank goodness for that.
Yeah, I'm from Lincolnshire. I'm not from Vegas. But that would have been pretty impressive, right?
Yes, that would have been fabulous.
It would have been. But Alan, it's not your right trouser pocket. It's my right trouser pocket. Let me show you. Look.
Wow.
But Alan, if you remember, we did say that obviously I did write on the back of it, which I wrote Alan, right?
Yeah.
Like that, yeah?
Yeah.
But I wanted to create a bond between the two of you, a solid bond, because I know how much you care for each other and you work together and that relationship is really strong. So let's create a really powerful bond for the two of you. Okay? Hopefully you can see this where you are. And if I do this, 1, 2, and on 3, 1, 2, 3, we can scoop the ink off of this card. Now, if we've done that, then that means one thing. We've taken the ink off of this card, which means, like your relationship, you're together forever.
Wow.
Very good, Ricky. Very good, mate.
Better than Dynamo.
That is very good. We like that one a lot.
But wait, look, before I finish, I did say I wanted to create a solid bond between the two of you, right? And I'm going to share this with you now. Watch. I'll pull one card out, which was yours. But watch, a solid bond. A bond so strong, it's now become completely solid.
How much is that?
You are clever.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Brilliant. That's why I think you are better than Dynamo, even though he can walk on water.
All right, there we go.
Hello. Ricky. Thank you so much, mate. That was brilliant indeed.
We're going to chuck you away.
You know what? It was one of those that it's kind of left me feeling a little bit flabbergasted. Like some of them, I'm like, yeah, that's really cool. And it is cool. You know it is. You know we love it. But that one was like, how did he do that?
This is what I love magicians, but I don't like magic because I like to be able to work it out. And I can't always work it out. And it just annoys me.
Yeah. And we have a comment for Chuck Tubbs. Wizard. Yes, very much so. I bet he was busy on Halloween night and everything.
Right, Ricky, get out.
Right, thanks, Ricky. We'll see you back in a minute. We are bringing Paul from Paul and Lou, which is part of our show today.
Hi, Paul.
Hello.
Morning routine.
All right. Okay. Paul, hello. You are part of Paul and Lou. Lou is joining us shortly, isn't she?
I can hear her. She's just finishing up her class, so she should be imminent. A couple of minutes, I would have thought.
That's fine. So what we will do, we will ask you about your morning routine, and then when Lou comes in, we'll ask hers and see if you marry up and if they're the same answer. Okay. So in the mornings, how do you get on? What do you do?
So how in depth are we going with this?
First half hour.
No, I won't go too far. So Louise gets up first, normally about 6, 6:15. She goes and walks the dog. Sometimes the kids are up by then. They're old enough now that they just go down and watch telly on their own, so leave us alone. I get up about 6:45, 7 o'clock. Depending on the day, so beginning of the week, Monday, Tuesday, Louise comes to the clinic for 8 o'clock, and I do the school run and get all that sorted. And then back end of the week, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, it's the other way around. So I come to the clinic for 7:30, 8 o'clock, and Louise does the school run, and then she comes in. So I suppose that's what the whole idea of this podcast is today, isn't it? It's about that relationship and the ability to have that flexibility and work around our family commitments, really. And that's probably the biggest reason why we did the clinic in the first place, was to give us that flexibility to be able to do the family stuff that you need to do and you want to do.
Absolutely. Well, we're really keen to get you guys in, actually, because Kelly and James, myself and Alan, we are very fortunate that we work from home quite a lot. We have that ability to be online. You guys are pretty, you're bricks and mortar at the end of the day. You are there. Yeah. Physically delivering a service in a building with clients who are in your doors. It's nice to see how your type of busy is different to our type of busy, to the next person's type of busy, and the fact that you do have those daily commitments where like Lou at the moment is in a class with clients right now, and she couldn't possibly be here for this particular window, and how you guys have to be so super with your timings, really, to make sure that you are as slick as can be. Before we go into any further detail, tell us what Bridge Health and Wellbeing is.
So we're a health and wellbeing clinic. So I'm a physio. I've got about just coming up to 20 years experience clinically. Louise has always worked in the fitness industry, had a bit of a break from that when we had the kids. And then when the kids were a bit older, she decided she wanted to get back into fitness, didn't really want to work in gyms or anything like she did before. So decided to retrain as a Pilates instructor. And I'd sort of done my time. I was working for Nuffield Health, a big corporate company. I'd sort of done my time there. I wasn't really being challenged anymore. So I was sort of wasn't overly looking for anything new to do. And Louise was looking for studios to work in and was struggling to sort of find a studio or two that she liked the look of to work in. So we were driving up to York, which is where Louise is from, and chatting about what we're going to do. And I said, well, why don't we just do it together? So that set the seed, and that was coming up 2 years ago now. So it took about 18 months, and here she is.
I love that. That's show business.
Yeah, that's it.
Fashionably late. Sorry.
No. We are just warming up. Lou, I did say to Paul a second ago, when you walked in the room, we're going to ask you, what is your morning routine like in the mornings?
Well, alarm goes up at 6, and then try and get the dog out of the house and walk before everyone else gets up. That's my quiet time. And then I walk in the door at about 7:15, and then it begins.
Straight through. Yeah,
that's it. That's I listen to my podcasts and just chill out for 40 minutes, take the dog out in the dark. But and then come home, and then reality hits you in the face. Beautiful. Cereal and shoes and trainers and kits, and
we have one of those piles. Paul was just telling us about you were driving up to York, I think it was, and you went, well, let's work together. But one of the things that Kelly and James mentioned, and we've mentioned before and lots of other people mention is, will you not kill each other? So how did you go from let's work together? Did you then go via will we not kill each other before getting to the great place? Or did you just know it would work? Would love to hear a bit more about that, please.
We've done projects we've kind of done a couple of house projects, big renovations, and worked together. So I don't think we knew we were going to kill each other. We just have our own little jobs. He does his thing and I do my thing, and we obviously overlap and did all our planning and stuff together originally in business plans. But no, it never really crossed our mind that we'd kill each other. So
I think, and that's what makes it work, isn't it? If it's natural and you're not picking each other all the time and things like that. When we've done projects, the building projects and things, Louise will often come up with 2 or 3 different ideas, and then I'll say, right, let's go with that one. And that's, again, it's just been quite a natural thing. We've never had to really push that very hard, which I think, again, you need that. But like Ricky was saying before, I think sometimes you do need to have ideas picked at sometimes as well. So just to bring you back down to earth sometimes, as long as it's not too critical.
And I was going to say, are you okay? Pick it, like, is one of you more creative and one of you more implementation? And will you go? Because if we disagree with each other, hell breaks loose. But we will disagree with each other. You always win. So, you know, does that happen? Is one of you more creative? And what if you are disagreeing with it? We haven't really discussed rowing, and I don't want to dwell on a negative thing, but there's an element of being amusing to rowing, I think. So
we as a couple, we've never really had big rows anyway. I think I know it is weird, but we've never had a proper blazing row really.
We disagree. I'm not great at taking criticism. I take it quite personally. So Paul's like, oh, that's not brilliant, let's not do that way, and I'm like, I really like that way, I thought it was a really good way. So I take it too personally. So he kind of puts a bit of a reality on it. It's not you, it's, we've got to find a better way of doing it. So yeah, we obviously disagree, and I kind of like just to crack on, whereas Paul is a little bit more look into it and explore a few options, whereas I'm a bit more of a bull in a china shop. Sounds good, let's do it, crack on, let's go.
That's really funny you say that, because we say that. I say, if it wasn't for Emily, I would have never gone into my own business, because I'm too much of an overthinker, a faffer, and everything else. Emily is, using your phrase, is the bull in the china shop. And what we like to think is it meets in the middle. So I slow Emily down and she speeds me up, and therefore we make quality decisions. That's what we
You're faffy today.
I'm not faffy.
Obviously, you have young children at home as well, and same as Kelly and James. How do you find balancing work life, thinking about business, running your business, having that common goal to move forward with it, and having the kids at home and making sure that you have quality family time? Do you have a divide? Do you ensure that you do have that quality family time, or do they often overlap?
I think. Like they were saying earlier, we've been on holiday and we take the laptop with us and things like that. I think as a startup business, because we're a service provider, if we miss an inquiry, they're going to go somewhere else. So we do have to, certainly at the moment, we don't have a practice manager or anything like that. That's us at the moment. So if we get a new inquiry, we have to action it there and then. But when we went on holiday, we would do an hour in the morning, an hour in the evening, just so we weren't missing per day. But we're pretty good, I would say. Once the kids have gone to bed, which is normally about 7-ish, isn't it? We might
8,
sometimes 8. Yeah, we're pretty good. Then we will just naturally
like my switch off 8 o'clock. Then my brain just and I just do washing and just do general house stuff. But then
equally last week we struggled for a bit of childcare for half term, so the kids had to come to the clinic. So it's carnage. That's all I can describe that as. It's one of the glass wall from the studio to reception. I had 2 children doing this, blow bubbles on the wall, and I've got people in a class.
That's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking having to clean it. I'm okay with the faces and the kids playing up. It's cleaning the glass.
Right. When you've seen a lot of our stuff especially the last year, especially with lockdown, is that we have kids at home, that you can't change that. That's how we are. And mummy and daddy work together on our business for the greater good. Ultimately, we're here to pay for our life and to have, keep a roof, and they understand that. And, we've brought up our kids are very small still. They're 7, 5 and 3. They're still itty bitty, but they do understand that work ethic already, and they were really good at, being quiet when they need to be quiet, if we're on the phone sometimes, not all the time, sometimes they run in, sometimes it's just part and parcel of what we do. And but I think from a young age, what we're doing is showing them that there is a way to, you know, to have a good solid relationship for the greater, that we can have these adventures together, that we can do this next thing, and actually to empower them to be more entrepreneurial as they get older as well, and not necessarily be set in a path of, actually, do you know what, I have to go to school, do my GCSEs, go to college, get a degree, go and do this, whatever that is, they can do whatever they want. And I hope that they see from us that, you know, that there is an opportunity to do what you want if you're passionate about it. And you guys obviously so clearly passionate about what you do.
Yeah, I mean, we hopefully market ourselves. It's a family business. The kids are, there's pictures on the website, they're going to be here. That's just a fact. You know, there are days when they're not here, but if they're here, they are going to be in. And they're aware of that. I mean, generally on the whole, they know the drill. They know what to do. And exactly that, we're doing it because we want to have a better quality time with them, and I can nip out and do a school assembly as and when we're allowed. I don't have to try and book a holiday day, and you know, we've got that flexibility, which is what we really needed.
Yeah.
And yeah, hopefully that comes across, that the kids will be here. People always ask about them, which is lovely, especially when I was from home.
Yeah, they're our PR team, our kids, so they get much better response on social media than we do.
They have small LO t-shirts with Bridge Health Wellbeing, and whenever they go to a sports club, off you go, wear those shirts, kids. Off you go. They're little sandwich boards.
Yeah.
Love it. Right, let's get everyone in and a couple of comments. And I've got something in my head relevant I'm going to share, but let's bring everyone back in whilst we are connecting. Ricky went to the right place. So I just wanted to finish that family business thing and go for a couple of comments. I was met some guy on Twitter, business related, not Dodge at all. And he was into like a podcasting guru. And we said, yeah, let's have a one-to-one. And he was in Norway and all this. And so we had a chat, and he said, oh, I love your branding, guys. I had a look around all your stuff, and you guys come across like a family-run bakery. And I'm like, do you know what? Love that. Absolutely love that. I said, because we had this thing when we started, that SEO and keywords and digital visibility can be very stuffy and off-putting. And we wanted it to be approachable, you know, and everything else. So when some random guy from Twitter called us a family-run bakery, I was absolutely happy. So
let's start. Patient asked if we lived here last week, that she could hear the kids running around. But do you live here as well?
Sometimes it feels like it. Yeah.
A couple of comments first, Emily. So we've got, Ben says, I'm happy to show you how to do it. We have some great ding dong arguments. So that was on the We Don't Argue. He said you can feel free to share in theirs. He put rowing. When I first read that, I read that as rowing, by the way. And I'm like, why are we talking about rowing? Rowing is good and healthy at times. Yeah, but never go to sleep on a row. That's very true. Big believer in that. I don't like going out if we've had a row. My main long-term survival strategy is always to say yes, dear. Yeah,
that was in my wedding speech, actually.
Just say yes, dear. Right, in the room.
That, I think that's one thing. The if you are a row, Kelly and James, do you have a row?
Yeah,
of course we do. Yeah, and row.
Some of the key things that we were, I think it comes from a place of passion more so than a place of just it's frustration and passion a lot of the time, because for us as a team, there is no plan B for us, and we get this question quite a lot from people going, well, have you considered this? Our end goal is so important to us that there is no plan B. It may change, it might develop, we might bring new ideas, a bit like Kelly says, I'm more of a creative, the idea will come. I'm like, darling, should we do this? And I was like,
I had an idea in the shower this morning. I had to write it down because I knew if I gave it to you this morning, it would just go right away.
But there is no plan B for us. Whatever the shape of the landscape of the world is in the next 12 months, our goal does not change. So therefore, when it gets frustrating, at the moment we've had to pivot, or we've had to, our other business hasn't got the weddings and bookings and events at the moment. It's horrific. You know, it's a place of passion of going, we believe in it so much. We have created something between the two of us, which is so super special because it's husband and wife. We've thought of it together, we've grown it together. It's like our fourth baby at the end of the day. You know, it's something there is no plan B. And then that anger, or not anger, the rowing comes from like, why can't we get there faster, or why can't we do this, or blah. And that's where it comes from. I think it's the fact that we are so in it, like every minute of every day, like you guys have said, you know, from the time we wake up to the time we put the kids to school, to by the time the kids have gone to bed and the time we go to bed, we are thinking about our business every single day. It's part of our everything, isn't it?
Yes, dear. Right. Okay. So, questions in the room, because I want to move this out of being husband and wife teams, although, let's acknowledge it, but go for those more building relationships outside of your business. So if anyone's got any thoughts who are watching, please drop that in the comments. But, Kelly, James, let's start with you. You touched upon this when we started. How important is it to build those relationships outside of your business? I would love to hear your take on that, please.
Huge, absolutely huge. Our whole business is about building relationships, be that business, whether they turn into friendships. Our best friends come from ONLE now, because I think the way we do business is different nowadays. We want to know, like, and trust the person that we're dealing with. So we need to get to know them. I can tell what you do by your job title, but I can't get a feel for you from that. So I need to get to know you as a person. And okay, you might not like me the way I do the job that I do. So of course for us, it's great because I've got loads of other web designers that you can go to, or you might gel with them better. And actually it's quite a timely thing for us today, because today, as we are speaking, is the first group running without us being there.
Oh, how are you feeling?
It's a bit, good, because we've paired two people up that we know will gel and get on together, and they have a great business relationship between them. They've known each other in business a long time, and they'll emulate what we do. Yet they're not husband and wife, but they'll do as good a job as we can, won't they?
Yeah, I think relationships, we forget, don't we, that everything we do in business, or most of what we do, is to do with relationships. Social media is a great example, isn't it? You see people all the time that we talk about it. We've just done an education on LinkedIn. LinkedIn's a networking tool, not a marketing tool.
Yeah.
Because if you're not mindful of building relationships, give us everything. So support, camaraderie, friendship. I know that I can pick up the phone to any number of experts in their field. They'll give me 5 minutes of their time. That time, their 5 minutes is worth years of learning. And I can access that at the drop of a hat. The support, the camaraderie, that kind of thing. People forget that when they're on social media, it's all about relationships. So you might want to tell the world, oh, I love juicy pineapples. I'm selling this great new product. Don't know where that came from. And people broadcast messaging, and they forget ultimately behind that is people and it's relationships, and spend more time nurturing relationships. That gives you business value all of the time, as opposed to just going, look at what we're doing.
You're so right, Joe. Like, we talk about this with our clients, our Digital Circus members, and I know Ricky's done a podcast about this on his Unlocked podcast. There you go, Ricky, that one's for you. We talk about the first rule of social media is, we call it #BeSocial for our members. If you're not chatting, there's almost no point, right? And you could almost not post anything, but just go and chat and engage. And, something we do at Yellow Tuxedo, every new follower within reason gets a personalized message, and we say thank you for following us, because we want to connect and grow with them. And we want to be part of their adventure as much as them being a part of our adventure, because the world would be as much as we're semi-reclusive, working from home all day, every day, borderline agoraphobic, semi-reclusive, and all these other issues we have, fundamentally, actually, we still need to connect and meet with people. We're both extroverts, and that kind of being social is a great place to be that. And I think you're right. Yes, the marketing's great, but unless you're being social and you're connecting and everything else. And funnily enough, we talked about this, a quick example to our Digital Circus members. We met Ricky on the DM in Instagram, but it's grown to this. And also Ricky's now connected with Chris Mooney, CM Learning, in the comments, and they've done work together and everything else. And all that stems back to us guys and Ricky being social and networking and building a relationship on Instagram. All of that stuff.
I'm going to say this, and then I won't say anything else again, I promise. But I've had 2 arguments in the past month about this whole LinkedIn marketing thing, and I've had people telling me, you're wrong. It's not. We're doing the mass spamming people, direct messages, advertising services, the kind of throw the ball in the air, eventually it lands in buckets. And they're telling me that that's working for me. I'm getting business from doing that. That's absolutely fine, and I wouldn't stop you doing that. That's up to you. How many relationships are you burning while doing that? Because you're basically telling people, couldn't care who you are, don't care about what you do you want this thing? Relationships, you're going to need them 5 years down the line, 10 years down the line. It's not now. That's a quick fix. That's not relationship building. that will backfire. And I'm going to shut up now.
Well, no need to shut up. That was absolutely perfect.
My next rounder in. Sorry.
Oh, thanks, Liz.
Thank you so much. Thank
I'm
you.
ready for the studio.
No, James, I think you're right. I think there is a place for both approaches in the right instance, but fundamentally, if you're not backing it up with being social networking, building relationships, then if you just sit there firing out, basically that's a sales funnel at the end of the day, and you're just trying to funnel people in the top and get them out the bottom. And that's not what we talk about. Yellow Tuxedo. We're much more about the flywheel model, which is connecting and growing and going round and round and everything else. Cool.
I think that during lockdown, we actually we did our 100 vlogs in 100 days. And it was about halfway through that process of doing it that we realized that actually, because we are at home and we were in one building, not going out and all that kind of stuff, that we realized we were very insular in the fact that because we are a husband and wife team, that we would talk to each other, but forget to talk outwardly to other people and have those connections. Because again, when you're regularly networking stuff, you do that because it's in your brain, because it's part of your process. But when you're in the house and you're not doing your average day, it's so easy to fall back into that trap of actually, we're just talking amongst each other. And then that whole hashtag be social thing was very one way. Like you said before, it had to be a two-way street. Ricky is a prime example. Now, we absolutely love you, Ricky.
I was going to say that's a massive downside of the husband and wife team is sometimes we forget to talk outside of our relationship. Whereas when you're, solopreneurs like Ricky, then you have to talk outside, don't you? So.
But I mean, Ricky, you talked to us in your podcast the other day, and I have listened to all of your podcasts now. I'm up to date.
Hey.
I love them. I absolutely love them. But it's the you said that bit of magic and a bit. But we met so briefly in that process, and we won't rehash that process too much now, because if you go and watch and listen to Ricky's podcast, it tells you all about it. But we went through that, and now I feel that you are someone who's come on for a 6-week project, but actually you are now a friend to us as Yellow Tuxedo, and you're someone who has. When we started this, we were looking for a magician to come onto the Yellow Magic Hour. That's what we're looking for. But from talking to you and understanding you, you have this wealth of knowledge about business in terms of your retail background and your training background and all of that we never would have known only having that one-way street and without that kind of hashtag be social. And now it helps us grow. It helps us be better as people as well, because you bring this insight sometimes that I've never even think about. Your quotes. Man alive, we're having
we better have a quote today, because I've scheduled an entire YouTube playlist on your quotes.
Yes, I better think of one now, aren't I? Yeah.
Do you? You don't work with Danielle, and you mentioned and how she brings you back in and she reins you in. Do you have anyone outside of your house that you have as like a business bestie or someone who's a bit of an accountability buddy that actually does keep you in check as well, outside of who you are?
Yeah, I do. So there's a magician that I have, and I'll mention his name. His name's Joel Klein. So I can get him to watch the replay on this. I don't know if I can say this phrase because it might be a controversial phrase, but TWAT, that's the acronym. So I won't say that out loud.
I had to think about it. Sorry.
Yeah, but basically he says he came up with this from a friend of his, which was those who are trusted. And so I say to him that he's my... so we have that relationship where we can banter between each other, but it's brilliant because even going back to when I first joined the Magic Circle, I'd come up and go, I've got this fantastic performance, I'm ready to show you, and he'd go, it's rubbish, Ricky, and I'd be like, what? How dare you? But until I kind of understood that actually it was a really complementary skill, because I was having this big vision, but he actually just told me the things that I weren't seeing. So he was kind of like, like a magic eye, I guess, to kind of see all the things that I couldn't see. So he said, Ricky, I can see that you're hiding something there in your hand. So you need to work on that. And it just really helped. And since then, he'll ring me if he has an idea. I'll ring him if I have an idea. And it just worked really well.
You hide things in your hand?
No, not at all. Not at all. Yeah.
What? You're an alien.
Yes, you're an alien or a lizard. Excuse me. Thank you.
Well, there we go. So I've ruined the magic now, haven't I? But but that's a great thing, because it just helps me. So if I've got an idea, I'll ring him and say, look, what do you think of this? And he'll tell me honestly if it works or if it needs a bit of work. And sometimes I hate it. I love the guy, but I hate it sometimes when he tells me that honest feedback. But then when I digest it, I go, he's absolutely right. And I needed that, because like we said earlier on, otherwise, if I had just gone to the people that would have stroked my ego to tell me I'm great, I'd go out there putting out crap content, and I don't want to do that. So.
It's tricky, isn't it? Feedback's really double-edged sword, and I'm an overthinker, which I've talked about in the past. So I genuinely want feedback. I love change. I love all of those kind of moving, kind of forward things. But at the same time, when I get that feedback, boy, will I beat myself up about it for like 10 decades before coming out the other end stronger and ready for action. But yeah, you have to have it. You have to go through it. No, I love that. Paul, and not Lou anymore. Paul, my question for you guys was also about relationships, because obviously your bricks and mortar business, we're really key. We didn't just want like service industries on the Yellow Magic Hour, and so for you, how does that relationship work for you? You know, in growing your business, nurturing relationships, and everything else. You know, what's your guys' approach? And sorry, a sub question. Obviously, we talked about being a bit insular at times and remembering to talk out. Do you guys have that same thing at all?
So relationships for us is sort of twofold, I suppose. We've got very much internal relationships, so with regard to our clients coming into the clinic every day, because there's loads of evidence to show now that if your patient's not engaged with what you're going to do with them with regards to treatment, rehab, etc., they won't get better. So you've got to nurture that therapeutic alliance, if you like, therapeutic relationship. And it's going to be the same for Louise with her classes, our yoga patients, clients that are coming in. If you're just coming in and just doing the moves and then going home and not really thinking about anything, you're really not going to get the benefit from that class. So we have to nurture our clients from that point of view and make the classes progressive. Or when I'm rehabbing people, I need to be progressing them all the time because we're trying to achieve goals and that type of thing. With regards to where do we, from a business point of view, we don't know everything, and I think that was the first thing that we had to admit to ourselves. We had good ideas. I'm a good physio. Louise is a great instructor. There are skill sets, if you like. I've worked in managerial roles in the physio world before, so I've got an idea around figures and things. But marketing was really a big thing that we weren't that sure about, if we're honest. So we work with a freelance marketeer now, so she's really good. She just does 5 hours a month for us, and it's just great that she helps with things like SEO and stuff, as do Yellow Tuxedo or Digital Circus, of course. So we'll big up that as well. Yeah. And we have a business consultant that we work with from the start as well. So she was very instrumental in helping us with our business plan, and then we meet with her on a quarterly basis now. On the physio side, I've got a couple of mates that have worked in private practice for a long time, so I bounce ideas off them. And Louise, again, she sort of has a mentor from who she did her Pilates training with, so she's seeing her nearly once a week as well. So I think it's important that we all admit that we don't know everything when it comes to business, and there's no way that you can. And that's why people are out there. They have their own specialities, and that's what you need to tap into, don't you? Yeah, no, you do. And you touched on a really, really important point in that. You talked about building relationships with your clients as well as outside your business. And for me, that's a big one. You know, in my old retail days, I've mentioned them, haven't I? It was always everyone's a customer. Everyone was a customer or a client, whatever word you want to use. And, you know, I think you treat them all the same, you know, just because you were talking to your boss or whoever internally doesn't mean you treated them differently. And I think that's such a key point of building those relationships. My old 90s reference, I remember in the 90s, a big thing about making friends. And I remember something about go to the gym if you want to make friends. I was just thinking about you talking about Lou, you know, building relationship with the people in her classes. And I remember the gym in the 90s was not a place you made friends, right? I just want to point that out. If anyone remembers going to the gym in the 90s,
no,
you did not make friends at the gym. It was full of, Andover, where I grew up, it was full of no, not bad people, but, you know, they I don't know how to explain it. Let's move on. That's a crap story. Comment from Heath. Thank you for joining in today, Heath. Loving these. External relationships are key to our existence in business. We are still working with clients 10 years on, and these relationships have carried us through. They are friends now, not clients. Relationships and trust are everything. And yeah, that's such a key point, isn't it? It's so easy to undo this. If you know, you talked about know, like, and trust, Kelly, it would be so easy to undo it, wouldn't it, at any point? Yeah.
I think it's also a really key thing is, like, especially when you're working on your own business and you're quite insular, is that whole, you know, you are the average of your 5 friends, aren't you, in terms of who you surround yourselves with. And we found it it's been a bit of, I don't know if anyone else who's worked with their partners has found it as well. It's been a real roller coaster. We've been the best part of nearly 10 years working together now, and it's completely evolved in terms of who we spend time with, who we chat to, people who don't necessarily get it or will go, I just couldn't do what you do. Why?
Just be careful here, because some of people do watch this, right? Yeah.
They're all fine. They're absolutely fine. But it's changed because people don't always get it or don't understand why you're doing it, or will still never really work out why are you still doing this 10 years on when and it's not for everyone. And working like we do and like you guys do is not for everyone, and we completely appreciate that. But it's like, actually accept that some of your friends are never going to understand it, but surround yourself by the people who do. And it's, again, making those relationships with people who are entrepreneurial, the ones who have that similar goal in terms of life, those who are going to be the ones to lift you up. Those are when you're in your complete and utter trough. Other people might say, quit, move on, go and work at Tesco's or wherever you're going to go. Other people go, no, do you know what? We all have these feelings. We all have these dips in our entrepreneurial dream of, being successful. It's okay. We all feel that. Here we are, we're here to lift you up. And it's making sure that you're surrounding yourselves with those other external people that are going to make sure that you feel secure with your working relationships and your partners as well. Because although Alan and myself are really good at keeping each other up, sometimes we both dip at the same time.
Yeah, that's
what are you going to do
tricky.
if you both dip at the same time? What do you do? Who do you talk to? And
we go out, don't we? We go for a drive. That's what we do.
Actually, that's a good point. Anyone else feel that? If you're both feeling like you're losing at everything you're doing.
Sorry, I've no disrespect, couples. I think this is more. I want to know what Ricky would do if you wake up having a bad day. Ricky, what do you do?
Yeah, so I talked about this recently, actually, with Chris. So shout out to Chris Mooney here, about the wallow time, what would be called hippo time from Sumo by Paul McGee. If I had a bad day, I'll probably moan about it, but then I just choose to respond and just say, well, look, I can't really do anything about it, and just choose how to respond to it. That's it. If I do have a bad day, I might call Joel, my mate, the TWAT, and he will tell me and put me back in my place to say, right, right, you've done your moaning, get on with it. And I'm like, oh yeah, cool, thanks, mate. So surround yourselves, like you said there, Emily, by the people that will, your tribe, as we would say. Yeah, find those people.
Perfect.
And what about then going back to the couples in the room? Not a Zoom today, is it? It's whatever show.
Oh dear, come on.
What if you're both dipping on the same day? So Kelly James, you wake up, you half hour in, you both realise you're on a negative downward spiral if you have them.
I don't think they do.
They don't look like a couple who would. How do you recognise that and get out of that?
That's your domain.
This is massive for us. We've changed this hugely. I think this is a work in progress. James won't mind me saying this. He will suffer with that more than me. But it's probably when we both dip that we have that blazing row, because neither of us can stop it. We're both humans at the end of the day. And it's going to happen. And I think we've just come to the fact that we've probably got it down to about half an hour now. And one of us will go, oh, come on, crying out loud, let's just move this forward now. Whereas before it would last for hours and hours. But you're right, Ricky, you do need those people around you that I'm sure, we've got a few of the TWATs in our camp, and I'm sat there,
not the way he means.
Not the way he
oh, right.
In the other definition.
to kind of name drop them. So Drew will send me a motivational quote every day. Ben, he's one of our cheerleaders. Laura Payne Stanley will always say, what would Laura say? What would Laura say? Andy Wood, who's going to be a really good friend of ours. Those four guys really are, and there's others, there's lots of others, but they are the ones that we would probably draw from and say, come on, we're being silly. What would Laura do? Come on, what would
you've got to learn to ditch the negative.
Yeah.
I've said don't burn bridges, but when relationships are one way and it is take, and customers, by the way, customer may always be right. Doesn't mean you want to work with them. And I had a couple of clients that weren't necessarily bad people, but just drags you down all the time. So you've got to manage it, particularly in this online world. Everything's intensified. We've got more time because we're not commuting, not traveling around, but you've got to be more mindful. Yeah. I think that impact is magnified. Yeah. So get good people, get rid of the ones that make you feel bad.
Yes.
Emily, there's a quote here. Sorry, just a sliding because I know it's near the end.
You can run over for a quote.
Okay, perfect. So it just reminds me of what obviously Kelly and James was just saying there about, it's from the book, The Art of Being Brilliant. And it's the phrase that they say, it's okay to have a bad day, but it's not okay to have a bad life. You deal with it, you get on with it. It is okay to have those bad times, but then choose how to respond and think about those relationships you still want to keep going, don't you? There you go.
Well, Ricky, that is your final thought right there. Thank you very much. Tell us, Ricky, where can we find you outside of the Yellow Magic Hour?
Yeah, Ricky Locke Magic on Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn is Ricky Locke, and you can follow my podcast, Unlocked, the Ricky Locke Podcast.
Paul of Paul and Lou, thank you so much for joining us today. Any final thoughts before we say goodbye?
No, yeah, totally. You can't let the negative times get you down. We could have, on Sunday when we got that announcement, we could have gone, oh God, here we go again. But you can't be like that. You've got a business to run. You've got family to feed, bills to pay, haven't you? So it's right. What we're going to do, Louise put together her new Zoom timetable. She's going online for a month. Fortunately, I can continue face to face, and you just got to belt your shoes back, tie your shoes back up, and just get on with it, really, haven't you? That's
absolutely. Paul, how can we find you guys outside the Yellow Magic Hour?
So we're clinic based in Christchurch, Dorset. We're on Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn. I'm on Twitter on my own, and yeah, website. You can book online, so go find us.
Perfect.
Yeah, love that. Thank you.
And Kelly and James, lovely Kelly and James. Tell us if any final thoughts you have about relationships, and then after that, how we can find you.
Oh, I'm waiting for you to talk.
Oh.
You can end. I've spoken so much.
No, you haven't.
Okay. ONLE Networking, spelt with an E, ONLE. We're on all platforms other than Twitter. You can book to visit us on our website. I'm sure you'll find us if you really want to. I think just keep being awesome. And thank you to you guys, because it's a great opportunity you've given us all today. So, yeah.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Guys, thank you so much for joining. We're going to kick you back into the yellow room for now. And we're going to say goodbye to everyone.
Yes.
Thank you so much, guys.
Thanks, guys. Speak to you in a moment if you want to stay.
Guys, thank you so much for joining us and watching us today. It's been a conversation that we've been wanting to have for a while, and it was brilliant to our guests. Thank you so much. Next week is our last of the first series. We may be doing a second series. We'll see how we feel.
Yes.
But next week, our last ever episode is all about. Oh my goodness, sweetie! Oh my goodness. Communication. Oh my goodness. Communication matters. Communication matters, but I didn't communicate that in my head. We are talking to Al Fawcett and Miriam Bajitha all about communication.
We're also very excited about that one as well. We're excited about all of them. Why would I pick one or two out? But no, we can't wait to have Al and Mira with us next week discussing that. So please do join us 10 a.m. live or on replay on all of our platforms. Shall we?
Yeah. Thanks very much, guys. See you later.
Bye. So I can find the outro. Bye.